So Josh, big year last year. You had the film that came out, Twins, Ellen Road, 2 big fights, 1 fight of the year contender.
Yep.
How do things get better?
Unify.
And triplets?
True. Maybe so. Twin lads. I've got twin girls. So some twin lads would be a 5-a-side team then, wouldn't we? So, it was a very good year last year.
Can things actually get better?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can't just dwell on the 2018. It'll always be a special year, but you can't dwell on that. Because then you might as well just stop living now. You know, you've got to look at that as its own little chapter. 2018 was a very special chapter of my life, and then life goes on, and we go on, and it makes you more determined to make more memories and make more chapters very special.
We've seen fighters in the past win fights of great magnitude and real importance, but then they've struggled in the immediate aftermath, whether it's getting back up to that level, whether it's a question of mindset or whatever. How do you maintain that hunger and desire now as the champion moving forwards?
A few things. I set myself another few goals. I want to, like I said, I want to unify. I want to win another world title. So that's a drive. That's a desire. I'm in position now to really earn some big paydays. So securing me, the future of my family and those around me is all down to me, really. And I think them two are massive driving factors, and not only that, like living a legacy. Now, I think we never really somewhat thought about, but now, especially with the last fights, what I had last year with Carl Frampton back to back, to go on and constantly fighting the big names and the other champions. I mean, they're the fights what really excite me, and I believe I'm capable of beating any of the other featherweights in the division. And to be a fighter where, when it's all said and done, Josh Warrington, I want a bad fighter to beat this man. And I want to look back on my career with pride.
Do you still feel like you have something to prove at all? Because people before the Selby fight or subsequently said that he was tight at the weight. Frampton, people were saying, oh, he's nearer the end. You've heard this all a million times before now. Do you feel like people now have got the message about you?
I think so, yeah. I mean,
because you didn't beforehand, did you?
No. I mean, last time we spoke, I didn't feel like that. But I'm sure I said to you, people will know after this fight, and certainly, I mean, on social media, I look through messages. I'm not used to it. I can't have to throw a phone down. I mean, I'm looking through Twitter posts and, for instance, candidates for fight of the year and all these different polls. Who's your fighter of the year? And people are Warrington. Like, I'm not used to seeing that. I'm used to saying Warrington's a night job, blah blah blah, he's no good, he's just another.
So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when it's all about credit, and I'm getting overwhelmed, having to put phone down. But yeah, I think people have really, started to realise that I'm not a bad fighter. I mean, the way that we took the fights as well, Selby then Frampton, it's not like I went back and had a steady defence. It was straight into with another big fight. And if I could have it my own way, I'd be straight in with my next one with another world champion. I made it clear I wanted to unify, and that's my thing. Is if you're a world champion, you've reached the very, very top of the tree. Why not want to fight the best to prove that you are numero uno in the division? You are the undisputed, best in Nick, with no doubt. And that's why I want to just keep on climbing. I don't want to just sit there and like, right, let's just rake in these, let's just fight, some fighters lower down rankings.
But as far as mandatories are concerned, Kid Galahad, there will be a lot of domestic interest in that fight. That's the fight that's now been mandated, and that's what's up next. As far as mandatories go, you can make a decent night of that, can't you? You can make a big night against Barry.
Yeah, well,
who you fought twice in the amateurs.
Yeah, boxing twice in the amateurs, so there's a bit of history. They can sell it on that. There's it's a Yorkshire derby. He's a bit of a gobshite himself, so there is that aspect. So, it'll make quite a big fight for them reasons. But I've just got to go in there and do a job, and I can't take my mind off anything else but Barry. I've got to win that fight, but this year I want to end it with a unification fight.
You were kids when you fought Kid Galahad.
Yeah.
Early teens, was it? Early teens?
Yeah, early teens.
So obviously you've both changed a lot. How have you both changed?
Got older.
As fighters?
As fighters, I don't know. It's,
I suppose the pro game suits both of your styles in their own way more than the amateur game.
Maybe so. I don't know. He wasn't so bad as an amateur. And, I don't know. I can't remember his accolades. He did all right. The same as me, but yeah, his pro styles probably do suit us better. But I feel like I've constantly improved over the years, and I've had the fights to show that as well. You know, plenty of fringe world title, and then obviously 2 world champions. Whereas I don't think Barry's had them fights. You know, he boxed Jazza, and he's boxed like a lot of titles are vacant, and that's it. But maybe he's been waiting for his opportunity, and then this is the one where he thinks he can bring what he's got. But I think I've got so much for him. Levels.
You were the hunter, but now you're the hunted. Because not only is he coming after you, but Shaka, Stevenson, different people calling you out now. Yeah, so it's you're the one with the target on your back now.
Yeah, it's crazy, but at the same time, I am still the hunter really, because I want to be mixing with the other names, the Leo Santa Cruz, the Oscar Valdez, the Gary Russell Juniors. I want to be mixing with them boys. So whilst I am the hunted and people want their opportunity, shout my name and whatnot, I'm still hungry, as in I'm looking to get to certain spots. So the fire's it's constantly burning in belly, and back in gym training, wanting to it's not like I'm got my feet up relaxing. I still feel like my back's up. I want to go out there and know I've got to improve and work on things to be the very best.
If you're going to unify, who's the dream ticket? Who's the guy that you want more than anyone else?
Now I'm ranked number 2 with Ring Magazine rankings. You get to number 1, you get one of them.
The ring belts.
The ring belt, yeah. So I've already had a word with Mrs. and she said if you get one of them, you can put it on TV units. So yeah, listen, Santa Cruz he's number 1, I'm number 2. So, and obviously he seems to be the biggest profile in the division. So I'd love to fight him, but then Gary Russell's got that green and gold belt as well. So but Oscar Valdez is a great, exciting fight, and I could see us styles mixing perfectly and having a good old toe-to-toe for 12 rounds. So either.
You're not fussed about travelling, are you?
No.
In fact, it's something you'd like to do, is it?
Yes, definitely. I think I said to you last time, I went over to watch Frampton fight Santa Cruz in the rematch, and I remember just being amongst the casinos and whatnot, and he had a few thousand fans over there, did Carl, and they were making a racket and whatnot, and I kind of took a little moment to just picture myself being over there and having all of my fans going over.
How many do you think you could take?
I think there'd be a few thousand. Yeah, I certainly think it'd be a few thousand, even more neutrals now who probably didn't give me credit beforehand, or one that asked about me have kind of cottoned on and started following us. I think we've won a few of Carl's fans over as well. I've certainly seen that on messages on social media that a lot of the the Irish fellas have started following us now, so which is all welcome, and I'm very appreciative of the support. But yeah, I think we'll take some good numbers.
You mentioned Carl there. At first, it looked like he might call it a day after your fight, but now he's indicating that he's carried on, might carry on. Yeah. What do you make of that?
I think he's good. It shows that he still feels he's got a lot left. And I'm glad after the fight he didn't turn around and say, I felt like I am past it. He carried on saying I won the best training camps he's ever had. He felt the fittest he's ever done. So I think that just gives me a little bit more credit. I'd like to see him go on and come back up. If he could win another title, like featherweight, and I keep on mine, then I'd love to have another dust up with him. A unification with Carl would be something else. I know he'd want the rematch. So, and the first time round, it was a fantastic fight. So,
they cited that perhaps tactically they got it wrong by trading with you early doors. Do you see how they've come to that assessment, but also how things could be different in a rematch if he didn't go in the pocket so early?
It's ifs and buts, isn't it, really, Tris? I mean, you know, Scott Quigg probably came away from his fight with Carl and thought, well, if I'd set off foot pedal a little bit quicker, then the fight had been different. It's all in hindsight, really. You know, you can say, I should have done this, I should have done that, but don't forget, he probably set out with a game plan to do this, that and other, but I'm in there as well, and I get to say what goes on, so I feel that I changed the course of the fight, not that he would his tactics.
Did you feel that he got a foothold in the fight at all, or did you feel that after those first 2 rounds it was all yours?
I felt like it was my fight. I think there was a time, 7:48, I had a bit of a breather, and maybe looking for 1 or 2 punches, because I felt like he was tiring as the fight was going on, and I thought that if I could land, you know, a big one, then it might call it a day there, or it might end the fight. And maybe I was looking for that a little bit too much, and as I was looking for it, it gave him a chance to have a bit of a breather, and I think that's where he liked it at that tempo rather than a bit quicker, and in that sense, he seemed to, you know, build a bit of momentum and claw back around the 2, but then that's always put it back on him again.
Why did it take people who weren't from Leeds so long to believe the hype, as it were, or to get on board with what you are? Was it partly to do with the fact that you struggled with Martinez, but Quigg and Frampton had done well against him? Do you think that put the brakes on it? Or do you think that, you know, people just looked at you as a guy who was popular, but I don't know, what do you think was holding people back?
I'd go back to 2015, me, Tris. I always go back to that fight with Dennis Tabiron. I still can't watch it. It still hurts me. It's a funny old one, innit? You know, the fans, when you're an underdog, they want you to succeed, and then when you get to a certain bit, they're like, that's enough, you've had so much success. It happened very quickly for me. Went into the fight with Samir as an underdog, then stopped to Rendell, then I won British title against Martin Lindsay, and you know, I had opportunities just thrown at me. European title came next. There were talks of fighting Ryan Walsh, and I went onto European. All of a sudden, bang! I've gone from small halls. I'm fighting in Leeds Arena, 10,000 behind me. You know, the TVs are saying, you know, he's this, that, and other. He's the next best thing. He's the next Ricky Hatton with his fan base. Newspapers are going absolutely berserk about me. I had a fight against Dennis Tabiron, really, I should have, you know, maybe dealt with, because my previous fight, I'd stopped European fella in 4 rounds. I went over to Germany, had a takeover, stopped him on 5. The ball were really rolling fast, so there were lots of hype about me there. Is he really the real deal? We'll see with this fight, Fringe World title fight for WBC International. And I got carried away with it. I got carried away with the whole occasion. I got carried away with the hype. I got carried away with the newspapers, and I went in there with my head was just gone. I'd gone in there.
I think he walked through him.
Just walked through him, yeah. And first couple of rounds, I even said to my dad after about 3 rounds, this ain't going round. I'm going to stop him. I never like think like that, but I was just that giddy. I was that hyped up. I wanted to impress the crowd that much that my mind went off the boxing. And he got to about 7, 8 rounds in, he knew he wasn't going to win the fight, so he was just on his bike trying to survive. I gassed myself out, not just physically, but mentally. I was frustrated. I was running around range trying to. I mean, I won it 120, 109, whatever. But for me, I was so frustrated for myself, and the critics went to town on me. Then, if you can't blast him out, then. And not only that, he boxed Mitchell Smith next time round, and he got knocked out in 1 round. And then that was it. Like he is a hype job, and from then on, every fight I went into, Joe Brunkner, Amagasser, Patrick Island, the Martinez. I mean, Martinez, I had 11 month out. I had an injury. I changed promoters. Went into that Martinez fight. People were saying, Josh is going to get found out. Blah blah blah. I went in there. I was rusty. I hurt my hand in the 3rd round. Got the win. You know, I think the bits of timing and everything else played a part. I mean, Martinez had a full camp. When he boxed Quigg, he had a few weeks' notice. You know, when he boxed me, he had a good 10 weeks. He'd come in, he knew it was last throw at dice. He come in up for it, and I got the job done. And yet people were still saying after Martinez is finished, he's gone on and won European title since. You know what I mean? So I think from that first fight, I was always like, oh, you're just a hype job. You're only where you are because you sell so many tickets. But I've not always sold tickets. I've not always been popular.
Where did that come from, the ticket thing?
It snowballed over the years.
How many did you sell to your first fight?
I did alright. My first fight was 70 down in Huddersfield. But I've been to some shows where I've sold 6. And when you're going up to promoters, I'm fighting on a couple of Frank Maloney shows in earlier days and giving them, telling my manager Steve Wood, Steve, I've only done 35. It's a 35. That ain't even going to cover your cost of your opponent. Frank's not going to be happy with that, I'm like, what can I do? You know what I mean? I can't sell anymore. But what I'd done is I used to go out and I used to speak to people and go to the pubs and people at football and say, follow my journey. And I just want to put Leeds on the map. And I think over the years it started to snowball. People had come along.
Was there one point where you had, say, a few hundred where you thought, wow, this is
it started to take off our English title.
Okay.
We went down to Dudley.
Male fight?
Yeah, Chris Mail fight. We were down in Dudley. 1,500 there. There were like 1,300 of his fans and about 80 of mine. And people shared videos after the crowds and that, and I'd won English title. I come back and I defended it at Leeds Town Hall. It was my homecoming, and I'd gone from taking 80 down there. I had 800 at the Town Hall, and then I'd won at the Leeds Pavilion, and then after that I had a little run of fights on Sky. So then it really started to snowball.
So that English title was actually really useful.
It was a turning point, yeah, massively. Yeah. I was at a stage where around 22, I'd done my apprentice as a fighting the journeyman and whatnot. I'd fought a couple of prospects as well, and I was ready for a step up, and that was it. Did
you do the grafting with the ticket selling for yourself? Were you doing drop-offs and going around? Yeah. How mental was that? And tell me about the sort of things that you had to do.
It was berserk.
When you had to sell, say, or when you were selling, say, several hundred yourself.
Like we still do tickets now, but I have a team around me helping me. I've got some very, very loyal pals who go out dropping them off and meeting folk for me, because obviously my time is just in the gym focusing on training and everything else. But at the time, I mean, like for instance now my missus has got, she does it on the computer, she's got all this like spreadsheets, it's all she knows where tickets are and stuff like that. I used to have a little black book and I used to write like, Dave, 5 tickets, and then Dave don't want 5 anymore, wants 7, scribble it out, Dave, 7 tickets, 300 quid, and then you go get money off Dave, and Dave only wants 2 now because it's just him and his mum coming, like, wants 2. And by the end of it, toting up all, cash and everything else, I've got money in the shoebox, all ticket orders there on thingy. It was an absolute nightmare. And, I used to...
So you were driving around everywhere?
Well, I was still, up until being a European champion, I was still working as a dental technician, so this was me on a camp. When a fight was coming up, I'd get up, go for a run, come home, go to work. On my dinner hour, I'd be texting people, are you about tonight, mate? I'll come drop your tickets. Finish work, go training, come home from training, shower, and then I'd go and drive about for an hour, going to people's houses and you'd go in and they'd ask you about training. How's training going, Josh? You all right, pal? Yeah, sound, mate, sound. You'd have a cup of tea, you'd be in there for like 45 minutes, but you'd still have a few other drops to do. Weekend would come about. Are you coming down to the match today, Josh? Can't me, I've got to go sell tickets. And I'd be out all Saturday, Sunday. And I think I really had to claw it in with English title fight, because I boxed at Leeds Town Hall and I wanted it to be a success because it was my homecoming thingy. And I've got weighed in, and normally after the weigh-in, you go home, you hydrate, you refuel, but I didn't do that. I took a Mars bar and a Lucas head with me, and I went back out selling tickets right up until about 11:45, and I bought a boxing Jamie Spate at the time, and the next day, like I said, we'd done really well, 800 there in the town hall, and the big homecoming, big entrance and all that. And whilst doing fight, I mean, no disrespect to Jamie, but I feel like we're a few levels above him then. And first couple of rounds, really, really confident. I'm bossing him here, bossing the rounds. I didn't think he had anything to work me. And all of a sudden, bang! I just felt my tank emptied. I just went like 0 to like really, really flat. Just stopped. I was just no energy whatsoever. Going into the 5th round, it was a 10-round fight. Going into the 5th round, I felt like I'd lead boots on. I couldn't throw my arms, and the crowd are screaming and shouting, and Jamie's on his bike running. I'm trying to land these shots, and I'm thinking, where's this bell? I just want this fight to end, and that's because I'd not refueled properly, not rehydrated properly, and I learnt a massive lesson then. And that's because I was trying so hard to make it a success with the tickets that I said to myself after that, no, I've got to start taking this serious now. And
but long term, it would have been worth it.
It was worth it, yeah, it was worth it. And don't get me wrong, I've met some great pals out of it, you know, and some very, very loyal fans who've been coming from me from you know, through thick and thin. They've changed holidays, have lost grands and grands on holidays. I mean, one fella came to pick tickets up before the Frampton fight, and he come in and he got his usual bundle of ringside tickets. I mean, 600 quid for a ringside ticket last time. And he come in and was telling me, since he's been following me, you know, in hotels and travelling, he'd spent 27 grand. Him and his family coming along to follow him in, and that's
now he's
like
got possibly Las Vegas to look
you know,
forward to down the line.
it's unbelievable when people are willing to put that amount of money into it. That's their hard-earned money, and I know the value of that. I've been skint, I've been maxed out in my overdraft, and when you're scraping money together to come and watch something, it's a lot. And for people to say, yeah, I'm going to come along and spend my hard-earned money to watch you fight and support your journey, very, very grateful to that. And you know, like I say, I think I've got a lot of loyal fans, and I can relate to a lot of them in the crowd, because I know a lot of them.
Yeah. Your journey has, you know, it's had its ups and downs, although you've gone on a steady trajectory all on the way up.
Yeah.
But you did make a well-publicised promotional change a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
Any regrets? And what's Frank Warren done for you?
He brought me the world title fight. There's no regrets whatsoever. I think, you know, no bad word to Eddie. You know, we left amicably. It just felt like it was just staling when the first, you know, the Selby were going to happen the first time round, and for whatever reason it didn't. I felt like that it just went a bit stale. And I felt like I kind of put on the shelf, and those around me felt like that also. Made the change, and one of the first things I said to Frank is, you know, what I really want a world title fight, and you know, what do I have to do to get there? You know, I felt like I'd been on that fringe world title level. I'd won the European, and then I'd had like 3 or 4 fights against fellas who really you could have had world title defences against. I mean, like I'm Gasser, you know, as I was winning British title, he was ranked number 2 and number 3 with all the world governing bodies. You know, Patrick Ireland, a world title challenger, Joe Brunkner, you know, box Selby, he'd right up there. And I said to Frank, if we can get us on the path to getting that world title, no matter how we've got to do it. And you could do it at Ellen Road, that'd be even more so special. Obviously come back, they wanted me originally to come back after that long gap with a bit of a steady domestic fight. I didn't want that. I didn't feel the need to go back down a level. I felt like I'd gone past that. I think I'd superseded that, and I felt like if we were dropping back down to domestic level and then going into world title level, it wouldn't have been the right preparation. So we were straight up there with, well, former world champion Martinez. Had a good old, you know, brush the cobwebs off with him, and then they would have finally eliminated against Dennis Sealand, and then, you know, the world title was on.
Yeah, sure.
So he delivered it at Ellen Road as well. So,
how much longer are you going to stay at featherweight for? Is that the plan to stay there, or are you growing and is it getting tougher to meet?
No, I make it comfortably. To be honest with you, if anything, my peak years now is when I'm a proper featherweight. You know, back in the day, I could have been a bantam. I should have been a bantam, but my dad wouldn't let me. You know, he used to say, no, you're not doing it. 18, 19, 20, I was so skinny. I mean, I've got pictures of me and Chris Mail head to head. He's a man, he's got shape to him, he looks twice the size of me. I'm like a skinny boy, you know, but I remember like not having to take any weight off to make the scales, where he's probably had to kill him a bit. But now it's come to this level we're at now, I still make it really comfortably.
So
whereas some
because you've sort of grown into it.
I've grown into it, yeah. I've grown into it over time, yeah, exactly. You know,
that could
maybe if I'd have been fighting a bantam, then I'd certainly bantam, sub bantam. I'd have really struggled to get to that now. But featherweight, I'm strong with it. I don't have to take off shed loads, and you know, I manage like the £10 weight limit really well. I feel strong when I'm in there, you know. I'm not like coming down from 11.5 stone to 9 stone. I'm never normally any other than a stone overweight.
Before the fight, there wasn't bad blood with you and Frampton, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There was you sort of niggled at each other with that while staying respectful, I suppose. But he talked about your punch power before.
Yeah.
He certainly talked about it afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think he'd underestimated it. He admitted that.
Yeah.
Your record probably doesn't speak as truly as it did on December the 22nd.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to what I'm saying there, Tris, about the weight. As I was coming through, like a lot of people look at record. Oh, he's a puncher. He's 27 fights and he's had 15 KOs. He must be able to bang. But they don't look at who they've had them knockouts against. It could have been like, all these Latvian, German who've come over just for a payday, and a couple of weights below them. Whereas me, when I was coming through 9 stone, your man's coming at 9.7. Really, he's come to like 10.5 and he's come down to 9.7. But my dad said, we'll take it. I boxed him with Riaz and I think I won like 9.2 and he'd come in at 10.1. Josh, go get a couple of signings down you before you step on scales. He's coming a bit heavier. It is what it is, and I won't get in the knockouts there because one, I wasn't as mature as what they were. I was still like a boy. I mean, some lads at 18, they're like fucking big square jaws, and the men there, I was still like a little boy getting ID'd. Look about 12, but and at the same time, I probably wasn't at the right weight. So, but what that learned me was ring craft, because I could have stand and have a tussle with them, but they had that strength inside with the physicality, pushing and leaning on me. So I had to learn to move about, the inside when they're slipping elbows, and learn to deal with all that stuff. And then as I started getting up to championship level and growing into the weight, that's when I started getting stronger. That's when I become a proper featherweight. And that's where really started to hit people. That's where the stoppages started coming. I mean, my first stoppage didn't come until I boxed Samir, 16 fights in. And like you look over the last 10 fights, that's where they've really come and when it really matters. And now I know I'm reaching my peak years. I'm hitting them with power. And any of my sparring partners over the years will all say that, Josh can dig. And another thing what I've probably done is, especially when I was selling the arena out and there always talks of Selby and world title fights, that went on for a good few years. I always felt like there was a pressure. You've got to get through this one, Josh, because world title fights after that. So instead of committing to a punch and sitting on it, it was always a case of bang, I'm back on my feet, bang. Not really committing to the punch, just bam, land a couple with speed, throw in a few with flurries, and then go for the walk, and just win the round, or just win the fight. Whereas like the last 2 fights, Selby and Frampton, I had fuck all to lose. I could really commit to it and show what I'm about, because no one would expect me to do so. I had no pressure on me really, because I wasn't meant to go in there and do that. I wasn't meant to get schooled, I was meant to get found out. And that's when I could really put everything into everything and show that power. But if anything, it's been a bit of blessing in disguise, because people think, 6 KOs, you can't fucking hit. I'm going to walk through him. And as soon as I get in there, they'll see.
Some of those guys that you fought as well on the way through, they were good journeymen. Like, no one got rid of some of them.
No, definitely.
They
definitely.
did 4 rounds, 6 rounds with pretty much everyone. They weren't guys
Yeah.
that were blasted out by anybody.
Yeah. I mean, some guys. I remember fighting a fellow up in North East. He originally was meant to fight Rendell Munro, and he sold a load of tickets up there with the prospects himself. Can't remember his name, but that was on a Sky show and or a TV show at the time. And like I say, he was meant to fight Rendell. Rendell had changed promotions. He'd gone from Frank Maloney to Watton, so he didn't have an opponent. So I think we got the notice in 8 days' time, because it was a big prospect up there, and he'd sold a lot of tickets. And that was like a 50-50 fight, but went up there and boxed his head off. And it's them kind of fights and that kind of experience what add to your ring craft and whatnot. But I had a lot of them fights in the early days, but people just overlook them.
You mentioned at the start about your short-term goals, unification and so forth, obviously beating Galahad and stuff moving forwards. Do you actually have a boxing bucket list of things you want to achieve before you call it a day?
No, I think I've just added to them. I mean, my first one, I never turned pro saying, oh yeah, I'm going to be a world champion, blah blah. I mean,
but did you think you would?
Did you think you would? Probably not. I remember being about 17, getting ready. Next year I'm going to turn pro, and the thought of doing a 12 round on TV. How would you ever do that? 12 rounds in early days, I was sparring with the likes of Dale Robinson, Jason Bove, and them guys were going on to fight with world titles. And then I did a lot of work with Gary Sykes, Carl Johansson, and I would like early pro years, 18, 19, and these boys, like I say, were bringing in British titles and stuff like that. And the idea of me doing a 12 round, it frightened life out of me. It really did, but just over my craft, you take every little bits as it comes, and I'd never put myself on so much of a level, because I think it brought too much pressure. If I was like, say, oh, yeah, I'm going to be a world champion, and then you fall at an hurdle, then I think you're in a real hard pit, and it's hard to get out of that. I used to just tell my pals here, we'll see how far we can go. I'd like to bring a British title back to the city, and then from then on, the next goal is the European. After that, you're in touching distance of the world, so you make it your goal, and you keep on improving, you keep on learning. Hold on a minute, you've held your own with some world champions many years beforehand. Why can't you do it yourself? It's in touching distance. You only got one man in front of you, and then it's there. All of a sudden you get through that, and now the talks of unifications. I mean, I never thought I got to that level, to be honest with you, and that's been truthful. I never thought I'd be a Unify champion, but now I'm at this stage. There's no stop me. I'm certain I'm going to be Unify champion. It's like now, I'm looking, if you were Valdes or Santa Cruz, just sat in front of me, it's 36 minutes, you're not going to stop me from unifying. I wanted that bad, I've set that goal. So, that's a bucket list. I'd wanted to fight Ellen Road, I've done that, I won a world title, I won a British title, boxed at Leeds Arena, I've boxed on some, in some amazing venues like the Manchester Arena, and abroad in Berlin, and now I want to fight in the States. I want to have a not just for myself, but just for the fans. The fans who pay the hard-earned money. We've made some great memories for them, and like those who've been to Ellen Road on when we won the world title, or for instance when we had that takeover in Berlin. I think I took 600 or 700 over there, and some of the guys still talk about it, because young lads going all out there together as a bit of a team. It's all memories, and you make them nice. So it's I'd like to do something like that and take them over to the States.